Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Hope you've had a great Sunday, a great weekend, and I hope you've had a great holiday as far as Thanksgiving. Hope you all y'all got a couple days off and just time to spend with your family, whatever you may have done. I definitely hope y'all had a good time doing it. The weekend's about wrapped up. The holiday period is about wrapped up. We're about to get back into our work week. We're about to get into the last couple of days in November, and then we're going to get into December, which is the cold months. And we'll begin to slowly start getting deeper into the cold months and talk about winter weather when it looks to occur. So I'm very excited about that, like I've mentioned multiple times. In the meantime, right now, things are relatively slow. A couple of days ago, we thought maybe we were about to get another Arctic blast, maybe for this coming weekend. That looks unlikely to happen at this point, but there's a couple things to monitor and talk about, and trying to figure out the patterns. What I can do for y'all is tell y'all that even when the weather's kind of slow, I'm going to continue to get the daily updates, even if it's just breaking down the GFS and the European model and the latest model guidance. I'm going to continue all to bring updates and definitely follow through with that. So thank y'all for the people who've continued to stick around and support me regardless of the slow periods. I'm still going to stick to that goal of 10K by the end of the year, because you never know. You could get some freak early season winter storm and everybody gets excited about it, and I'm going to get excited talking about it. So I know we're going to have some things to talk about here in the next several weeks or sooner, so I'm very excited about that. I do want to mention, if you guys have not subscribed, hit the subscribe button, like the video if you like it. Your support is definitely appreciated. As I mentioned a couple videos ago, y'all are definitely just supporting a kid that has a dream, that had a dream, and now I'm kind of living a dream through social media because of y'all. So thank y'all for the amazing support. I want to mention, as y'all know, I'm a storm chaser also, so I don't like to talk about money much, but I do want to mention there is a join tab. All you do is click it, gives you a couple payment thresholds, and it's just an opportunity to basically donate to my channel monthly. Lowest tier is like $9.99, and what it does is it goes to improving my setup, making things a lot better for you guys when you're watching my content. But a lot of it goes to storm chasing. So when I go out there and do like things like this and chase Hurricane Ida, and hopefully I'll get to chase maybe a blizzard in the Northeast this year, or just chasing in general, is expensive, and I try to be as cheap with it as possible. Even when it comes to Hurricane Ida, guys, I slept in my car. That's another aspect I think I'm going to bring to the table for you guys, is I'm going to make a little bit of a vlog interaction with you guys on my entire journey there, through it, and back when it comes to storm chasing. So I look forward to that. But basically the money goes to that. I tell you what, I've had a couple people who donated to that, and it ended up paying for my entire trip. So it's so appreciated, and just thank y'all. Thank y'all for the amazing support. So let's get going here. There's not a ton to talk about, but what we're going to do here is we're going to dive to the GFS, then the European, break down what we're seeing, and break down what it looks like for basically for this week and the first 10 days basically of December. So going forward here, we'll kind of shoot this fast. The coldest day by far this week will be tomorrow. I think highs are only going to struggle to get out the 40s for a lot of the eastern U.S. That even includes areas as far south as Georgia, South Carolina, Alabama, Mississippi. But let me tell you what, the temperatures moderate throughout the week. They get warmer and warmer. By Tuesday, you're getting 60s and 70s across the south. And then Wednesdays, these are high temperatures, 60s widespread. And then you get into Thursday, and look how far north the 60s and 70s are getting. There is a little bit of a boundary here, but not much. I mean, 50s getting into the Ohio Valley for the December 2nd is pretty warm for this time of year. I mean, even up here, it looks like all the cold air just gets temporarily bottled up all up in Canada. Friday, a little bit of a trough, as when you get kind of a zonal flow, meaning there's no real big-time ridges or there's no big-time troughs, sometimes the Pacific air can invade and you get a lot of mild air into the U.S. in general. But occasionally you get some dips in the jet stream, which like this over the Northeast, it gets really cold for a day or two and then it moves on out. But I tell you what, this coming weekend looks like it's going to be a warm weekend for a change. And then you get in the long range and maybe a cold front comes through as you get into early next week, but this is next week, so it's hard to say anything with any confidence. I will say towards the day 8, toward day 9 range, there is some incredibly cold air building in the upper Midwest with what looks to be a blue northern, which are basically sharp cold fronts. This is an insane looking cold front dipping down. And a lot of times you see these times of the year as the seasons are still transitioning. But if something like this was to happen, it would be an incredible cold front. And one of those cold fronts where the temperature drops 30 degrees in a matter of a few hours. But it's just kind of far out. This is going to continue to flip. I mean, just looking at this map in general right here is just insane looking. You got some kind of Arctic air digging down south, but a little bit of a big time southeast ridge flexing here. But this just looks very odd and weird, and it's hard to figure out what's going to happen. As far as the European, let me make this a little bit bigger for you guys. It's definitely not as crazy looking, but it shows the same thing. The same thing. Geez, I can't talk. You got Arctic air building in Canada, but it's just not really releasing here. But towards the weekend, the European has a little bit of a chillier weekend in store. So it kind of speeds up a cold front, brings it down to the weekend, and then has another cold front towards the end of the run, but it doesn't really dig very far south. And then towards the December 7th and 8th time frame, it kind of shows that same big-time cold front as the GFS is showing. So this is something to watch, but when you're in that day 8 to 10 range, you're starting to get in the range where nothing is consistent. It changes from model run to model run. As far as precipitation, like snow and rain, I can tell you there's portions in the southeast, the Carolinas especially, where it is incredibly dry. In fact, there's I think Pilot Mountain in North Carolina is basically on fire right now. It's basically not real safe to burn anything in the Carolinas. I don't know. I can't really speak for everybody else because I haven't been keeping track. But precipitation-wise, you have a system that swings through with that trough digging here. That's will probably bring some snows as we get late week for the interior northeast. But basically, you have the same pattern. A ridge in the west, and you have a little bit of a flow coming down here, riding the jet stream with clippers. But when the jet stream is just this far north, you're not going to really have the southern stream cooperate. So not only are you going to get cold air, you're not going to get any kind of system that delivers any impactful rain system or anything like that. But there's that big time cold front showing up on the GFS. Along with it comes a big time weather system potentially for, about a week out from the day. We got to figure out what that's going to do. And then the real powerful cold front shows up with just ridiculous looking weather like they always do. When they happen, there is some crazy weather, A lot of times when these blue northerns drop down, you'll be in Denver, will be 70 degrees one day, and then the next day it's dropped into the teens and snowing. That's not super unheard of in that area. So I tell you what, the European through 10 days shows nothing crazy at all whatsoever. Nothing real to talk about. It shows that little piece of energy. Well, it wouldn't be little. It would be a nice dose of precipitation for the eastern U.S. early next week, but it's definitely not too crazy. And then it shows a stronger system like the GFS does. So basically, right now, the GFS and the European are pretty much the same through 10 days as far as systems. It's a little off on the cold air, especially for this weekend. But, here's the GFS ensembles as far as troughing and ridging. And here it goes. It looks like the pattern goes a little zonal, not completely, but there's a little bit of some troughing in the east, and a big-time ridge is just sitting in the central U.S. and the western U.S., and which leaves the eastern U.S., depending on where you are, a little just around average for this time of the year to above average. But then this is getting into next week, and the flow goes completely zonal. About as zonal as it can get. You see these lines pretty much just going straight across? That's zonal already. Zonal means there's no big-time ridging, there's no big-time troughing, and a lot of times it means above average temperatures. But if you look at this, what this is the northern hemisphere as a whole, and you'll notice as you get further out in time, watch how above average temperatures begin to dominate the entire U.S., and that is because the flow gets zonal, which basically means, I said earlier that it means there's no ridging, no troughing. Well, it basically means there's just a gigantic ridge, if you will, over the entire lower 48. That's why Alaska is so freaking cold right now, is because all the Arctic air is beginning to get bottled up there, and they're basically in the Arctic. So they're sitting where all the cold air is, but you're getting, I mean, this is 372 hours out. This is through mid-December, and the entire lower 48 down here is above average. So it's hard to figure out what's going to happen. We'll continue to monitor it, and I'll continue to have updates for you guys, even when it's slow. But that's pretty much all I got. Hope you all have a great start to your work week. God bless all y'all. Y'all have a good night.